This is Trash Panda Publishing. Thank you for joining our podcast, where raccoons talk about books and publishing, and of course, anything related to raccoons. I'm David James.
And I'm Lulu Smyles, and we're the hosts of Trash Panda Publishing. I know DJ usually does these by himself, and I'm glad that he has asked me to join him tonight because, feeling a little left out over here.
Well, people are also sick of hearing from me, so I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you. So tonight we are just going to go over a few things or talk about a few things. So we've got some news that we're going to go over. I am going to read a poem that I wrote. And David is going to do an apology. And then we're going to talk about some awards and David's store. And then we are going to read a chapter from Escala's Wish. And then you will hear the Crimson and Ava show.
Excellent. So let's get into the news. I think last time I had mentioned that I was going to Packy, so I don't have any news on that other than the fact that I have ordered two things. One, a huge backdrop, which is a 10-foot long, 8-foot tall picture, which is basically the cover of Escala's Wish minus Escala. So imagine her not on the cover, and the cover lightened up, so it's not so stormy. That's going to be the backdrop. It does say Escala's Wish on it, but that's it. And then Escala herself has been turned into, you remember those things called fat heads? They were like cardboard cutouts, full life size, like 5 foot tall, 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
If you go to the movie theaters, sometimes they would have them out in the lobby, whatever movie was showing, they'd have the characters out there. I got one of those made of Escala. And she's going to be standing in front of the booth, but it's not just a fat head. I got the kind made where there's a cartoon bubble, like she's speaking above her head, and it's blank, and you can write on it with a dry erase marker. So throughout the conference is 4 days, so I'm going to be constantly changing what she says in the bubble, and I promise to take pictures of this and put it on the Facebook group, and we'll move her around if we can, and that's going to be the main sort of feature of our booth. So that's one piece of news. The other piece of news is, for those of you who have books that can be reviewed, meaning they are, any book can be reviewed, I should probably back up. But people will more likely review books if they were on Kindle Unlimited, because nothing's free, but if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, you can read as many books as you want. And so it's easier to review somebody's book if it is part of Kindle Unlimited. And there's a ton of different places and groups on Facebook that do that. Some I would argue are illegal, meaning people will say, just pay me money and I'll write a review. That is against the terms and conditions of Amazon. And if they catch you, my understanding is they will boot you out of there. So I wouldn't recommend that. There are others where I'll go over how those work in a second. There's Facebook groups where you review people's books in the group, but you're not supposed to do review mine, I'll review yours, because that's also a violation of the terms and conditions of Amazon. You can't trade reviews either. But so how those groups will work is, if the groups are big enough, if you've got 50, 100 or more people, and you would review my book, and then somebody five people over would review someone else's book, so we're not reviewing the same people's book. There is still some risk when you do that. So there are more formal ways to do this, including getting verified reviews. And the two that I know about that I'm going to just mention here today, this is the news. One is called getbooksreviewed.com. And this one you have to pay a monthly fee. And I'm going to go over how it works, and then I'm going to give you my review. You pay a fee. The whole thing costs $72 a year, so whatever that comes out to per month. You post your book, and your book is listed, but it's not actually listed until you earn coins, and then you spend the coins to put your book up and visible. How do you earn coins? You review other people's books, and when someone posts their book, The length of the book will determine what the minimum number of coins are. So if your book is long like mine, it takes a lot of coins for it to be displayed. And you can decide, do you want the reviewers to sort of review a PDF only, a Kindle version only? Do you want them to buy it? Like force them to buy it, a Kindle version? Or do you want to force them to buy a paperback version? You can set those parameters. So if you're worried that Amazon is going to ding you because you're perhaps involved in, like, I'm going to call it trading reviews, you could go in there and say, I'm only going to accept reviews from people who buy the book. But to do that, you're going to need a ton of coins because someone is going to have to spend money to buy your book. So you're going to have to put tons of coins in there because for them, they take the coins and then they're going to use the coins and post their book for reviews. And if they want to do the same thing, they're going to need a lot of coins to get someone else to buy the book. So it is like a virtual economy where indirectly, I guess you're buying reviews, but inside Amazon's economy, people are buying the book. But what I found is that site doesn't really produce the results that they promise because nobody's buying the book. They're all doing Kindle Unlimited because it's cheaper. So my book is long. It doesn't get checked out very often, and people whose books are short get checked out all the time. And so I feel like I've wasted my money on that site. My book has been in there for a month, and I have received 3 reviews, and I reviewed tons of books. I have more coins than I can possibly spend because they only let you post your book once. I have enough coins I could post my book 5 times, but they let me post 1 at a time. So that's not a great deal. The other one, which I think is a way better site, is called Revview. I'm going to spell it because the way I'm saying it is not right. Revview.co. It's REVVUE.co. And I'll put all these links in the description. Same concept. You earn coins and your book is posted by spending coins. The best news about this website is there's a free version. You can sign up and get going without spending any money. Now, it's going to take forever to earn enough coins to post your book, but it's free. And so it's a way to test it to see if you like it. I went ahead and did the paid account because they give you a bunch of coins for getting a subscription. And same thing, you can either let people review Kindle Unlimited, you can make people buy the Kindle, you can make people buy the paperback, which again protects you on Amazon if you're making people be verified purchasers. But you can also request the type of review you want. If you want like a detailed review, it's called a high quality review. They have to write at least 200 words. You can check that box. And you can also check a box that says you want the review on Goodreads. All those things cost coins. And I have received 10 reviews on that website, and I've only been part of that group for 2 weeks. So much, much faster turnover, and you can post your book multiple times. If you have enough coins, you can have your book listed as many times as you have coins. So if you had to pick between the two of them, review.co, way, 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 way better. So for people like you, Lulu, who don't necessarily have a Kindle version, you could still put your book in there because you can say, only buy the paperback. And that could be the threshold. Because I know right now no one can review your book because it's not in Kindle. But you could list your book and that's your threshold. You got to buy the paperback. And then you could put coins. So what you would do is you would review other people's free. If you don't have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, there are people who post PDFs of their book. You can read those, earn coins. Once you get enough coins, you post, your book's already in there. You release it, and somebody will eventually buy your book and review it. So there you go. There's your tip of the day.
Well, thank you for that. That is very awesome.
Yeah,
I'm going to check it out because...
Yeah, it's a great way. And I don't think it's illegal because people are actually buying for you. And what I'm doing the same thing. I don't do reviews. I do the one where they buy the book because I don't want to get in trouble. I want them, and that way, if Amazon looks, they bought the book, and that's what you want. And for you, that's the only way they can get it because you don't have a Kindle book. So it's REVVUE.co. That's the website.
And
okay.
I like that they have a free version, even if it's limited to whatever you can and can't do. But at least
Yeah.
people can go and kind of check it out.
Give it a whirl. And if you don't like it, then you haven't spent any money. So that's the second piece of news. The third piece of news is the complete platinum version of all this, and this is expensive, but this is called netgallery.com. If you have been trying to get your book like into the TikTok environment or picked up by what's called bookstagrammers or people on Instagram who review books, which is what a bookstagrammer is, which I've been trying to do. And so here's what I do. I go on Instagram and I can see these people. They've got tons of followers. They review books all the time. I post, I follow them. I sometimes private message them, almost never reply to me. Sometimes someone will reply to me and I will say, I've written a book. How do you take submissions? I'll send you a hard copy for free. I'll give you a Kindle. How do I get on your list to be reviewed? And I just get crickets. Nobody, they don't even really reply at that point. I only had one who told me that I had to pay a fee to be on her show. Well, how much is it? It was like hundreds of dollars. Like, I don't know about that. That seems a bit steep. So I got kind of discouraged. Christina Marks did introduce me to one who read my book on the air for a little bit. I had to pay a small fee to be on there as minimal. You can sign up for a big marketing package that she'll push you for like 3 months. I haven't done that yet, but you can. If you're willing to pay money, you can. But then I came across NetGallery. NetGallery it does cost, well, there's two pieces of this. You can be a reviewer and you can be a publisher. I'm going to focus on the publisher part. So if you're an indie author and you're trying to get your book, for me, what I was looking for was TikTok people. So they claim to have 900,000 reviewers, people who have signed up to be reviewers. And it's not just people like you and me. It is librarians, TikTokers, bookstore owners, book publishers, and journalists. I'm like, okay, well, that's bigger than just probably what's on review.co. So I looked at the books that were on there, and I looked at the publishing houses that are on there. It's like Penguin, it's Random House. It is every single publisher in the country, all of the big ones. And actual real authors are on there. Stephen King's book are posted on there. James Patterson, Jane Harper. These are like best-selling authors whose books are posted, and their publishing companies have put them up there because TikTokers will check these books out and then go review them. Or librarians or bookstores will review them and decide placement. So I'm like, this is not a fake website. It's not some scam. It is where I'm shocked I never knew this before, but this is where the big boys are playing. So I created an account and it's cost $575 or $95 for 6 months. So it was expensive. I posted Escala's Wish. Within 16 hours, I had 13 people check out my book, and I'm going to just read you. I can see who they are. I have to approve them. I can say no to them, so I can see who they are, what they're doing, and they have a little profile, and I can decide whether I release the book to them or not. So let's give you a couple of examples here, and you can see why I'm so excited about this. Let me go to my approval history. So Nina Taylor is a TikTok person. She checked the book out. I click her link and it says here, she loves fantasy and romantasy. She is looking for these type of books to promote on her show, and she thanks me for my consideration to review her book. And then she has a link to her TikTok channel, which I clicked, and she has 2,265 followers. Or no, she has 578 followers, but 2,268 people following her. She is going to read my book. She checked it out. A librarian from Dominican University, I don't know where this is from. Oh, this is in the United States, but there's a librarian has checked it out, and this person is in charge of shelving, and they are reading books to decide what to go on the shelf. Well, that's what I've been trying to do, is get on libraries. So there's a library that's looking at me. This is a person who's a housewife and she just likes to read, so I don't expect much there. She's getting free books. Another person named Kimberly, she's just checking it out to read. a librarian who is a member of the American Librarians Association has checked it out. Now, that's important because I'm going to the Librarians Association meeting in May, and she's a member. Maybe she'll even be there. Okay, now we're getting to the big stuff. Barnes & Noble has an executive part of their scouting team is reading it. And she says here she reads 400 books a year, and she's looking for books that will be decided whether or not they'll put these in stores. Like, I'm already on Barnes & Noble's website, but she is deciding whether or not a book goes into the store. I'm like, what? Wow. It doesn't mean I'm going to get in the store, but the fact that Barnes & Noble person checked it out to look at it. Not the same thing for Books A Million. They're doing the same thing. And then finally, this is interesting. A person, an educator in a high school district says he is in charge of the reading program, the summer reading program for grades 5 through 12 for this particular school district. And he is reading my book to determine whether or not it will be put into the summer reading program. Party over here.
Right.
So this is netgallery.com. My book will be posted for 6 months, and all this happened within the last 36 hours. So anyways, that's the news. Those are the 3 things I wanted to share. I'll put all those links in the channel here. So I don't know. What's your reaction to all that, Lulu? Is that any of that news to you?
Did you say that there was a fee for NetGallery?
Yes. To put your book, to post it, it costs $575, and that gets you 6 months of discoverability. Now, what you have to do is you have to post a PDF of your book and what's called an EPUB version, which is a Kindle version. Now, for you, I can make you a Kindle version if you don't have one. I know you don't think your book makes sense in Kindle, but for the purpose of reviewers, if you ever wanted to do that, I can make you a Kindle version. You can create a reviewer account for free, so you can read Stephen King's books for free. They're all in here.
I think all of that is really exciting news for you and for anybody who, if they have the means to check out any of these and try them out. Like, I really think that is great for, anybody that can and wants to do it.
I mean, what I've discovered is, I haven't succeeded. My book hasn't broken through, if you will. I have sold I've crossed 350 sales, which is, I know, absolutely amazing for small books, but I don't, that's not best-selling. Best-selling territory is New York Times doesn't really tell you. They don't release the number. But if you Google it, it is estimated that you have to sell 5,000 copies to be considered a bestseller. And actually, you're supposed to sell 5,000 copies in 1 week. Well, that's never going to happen for me. That only gives you a chance to be a bestseller. If you sell 10,000 copies in 1 week, you're almost guaranteed to be a bestseller. But New York Times does not count sales on Amazon. It does not count. It only counts sales in physical stores. So those of us on Amazon are out of luck. Well, I guess where I'm going with any of that is I've discovered that you have to spend money to get this visibility, and there's still no guarantee that I'm ever going to recoup all these $500 fees that I'm paying here and there. But I am getting traction, and it's all I can say is it's like I'm swinging for the fence, and I'm either going to hit a home run or I'm going to get struck out. So,
well, you've got a lot of you have put a lot of time and
money. You can say it
into it, but a lot of it is paying off for you. I mean, you've had already like numerous awards or nominations, for Escala's Wish. And I mean, even if you don't sell 5,000 copies in a week, like it's out there. It's getting out there. People are going to know about it. That
people have asked me, what is your goal? It's not to make money. I mean, at this point in my life, I've been blessed enough where this is not doing this as a business. Would I want to make millions? Of course, but that's not the goal. To me, it's the message of Escala's Wish is the goal. Harry Potter is a household word at this point. If I could get to the point, this is the dream, and I'm dreaming big. And if you listen to the podcast yesterday from Mary Ellen Whitten's book about positive thinking, if you don't think positively, you will, in my mind, probably end up thinking negatively. So I think positively and I think big. I want Escala's Winter, it's the character, to be a household word like Harry Potter at some point in the future. And I want the message of her book, which is love, and not just romantic love. It's all kinds of love. Every type of love that exists is the underlying theme of the book. That's what I want to survive. It's not any kind of money that comes with it. It's the story. That's the dream.
There's nothing wrong with that. And you do a beautiful job of the way you wrote it and the overall message. Like, you do a really beautiful job of bringing that through.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, let's go on with the show. We could stay here all day. What's up on our, what's next after our news?
Next I get to read a poem.
Oh, excellent. So before we started the show, Lulu told me, well, she's a poet for those that don't know, have not listened to other episodes. And she has written a book called, let me see if I can get it right, Chaos in the Darkness? No. Choose Your Own Self-Discovery, right? Chaos, Ink in the Chaos.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
Choose your own discovery, Ink in the Chaos. I have written it as a blog. I've read, well, we didn't read it. We actually did it on the podcast. She walked me through it. It's poetry. It's choose your own adventure. So she is a poet. And she's going to tell us where she writes poems, and tell me where you've written this poem at. What'd you write it on?
So, this poem that I'm going to read is written on my ceiling. I was looking at my ceiling one day and decided I was just going to turn it into art. And so I started writing poetry on it and I don't know how to draw, but, little doodles and, things. So this poem, it does not have a name, which is actually pretty typical when I write a poem. I know all the poems in my book have a name or have a title, but typically I don't title my poetry, and I don't know why. I never really have. It's interesting.
Well, if you think about people who did things that were interesting, E.E. Cummings didn't use capitalization either, or even punctuation for that matter. So your shtick could be no titles,
Right.
All untitled.
Untitled.
Well, let me ask you this: Who was it? Who was the guy who painted this on the ceiling? Was it Van Gogh?
Michelangelo?
Oh, Michelangelo. So you're right. You're in good territory.
Right.
Did your hand get tired writing? You didn't write like Canterbury Tale length poem here, did you?
No, it is a slightly longer poem than what you find in the book, but no, my hand did not get tired. However, markers do not like to write upside down. So.
so let me ask you a question, and I've done this, so I'm only asking because did you have to like lick the marker?
Yep. Shake it.
Okay. Well, what's the poem about before you read it? Or do you want to read it first and then tell us what it's about?
Okay, yeah, let me read it first and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta get in position.
So I'm watching her on camera, so she's laying down right now. And I can see the doodles. I can't see the poem on the ceiling, but I can see some drawings on the ceiling.
Yeah, I painted that side.
Oh yeah, there's
I don't know. That's
that looks like very psychedelic over there.
I was going for psychedelic. I painted it and then I put glow in the dark paint over it because I thought it would look cool, but it doesn't really show up. So I don't know. I got to work on it.
Okay, I'll shut up and let you. I'm commenting and I shouldn't. I'll let you go.
No, you're good. Okay, so here's the poem. If at the end of the road there was nowhere to go, would you still find a place to call home? Or would you wither away and say goodbye to the day in search of a spot for your head to lay? Would you ask why or just kiss the sky and accept where your journey has led you? Would you conquer defeat and stand strong on your feet, walking tall against deceit? At the end of the day, did you lose your way and say goodbye to those that begged you to stay? Are you alone? did you find home because you're no longer left to roam?
So do you, when you write poetry, do you have it in your head already, or do you write a line and then ponder what the next line is, or does it just flow out of you? What's your process?
Yeah, it's so usually a poem kind of gets sparked by, like this one, for example. I was walking down the street, and I love Robert Frost, so it kind of, I don't know what I was thinking about Robert Frost and The Road Less Traveled, and and so just where I was at in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the person I was thinking, like, I wrote this one looking back, kind of about something, going through some things, but then also about somebody else, looking at somebody else's life who was dealing with a lot, struggling with a lot. And so that's kind of how this poem came about. But I don't typically have them in my head already. I kind of just, like this one, I started it, I did 2 lines, and then I didn't work on it, because like nothing seemed to fit. And then one day it just kind of all fit together.
That's pretty interesting. Like, I just pulled up off of my bookshelf E. E. Cummings. We were just talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know this, but he didn't. He actually did not name his poems either. He gave them numbers. See,
Nice.
so you are in good company, E. E. Cummings. Just put a number up there and then write it number 1 on top of it.
Right.
His poems, he never used capitalization either. That was his style. But enough about him. I mean, what I heard there was, I don't want to like psychoanalyze you there, but it's made it sound like you were almost pulled over on the side of the road and wondering whether this was the end or whether you need to keep going. I didn't hear you anything about going backwards, though. It seemed about whether you should stop or go forwards. Like, what do
Yeah,
you think?
there's really not any going backwards, and also, like, when I was walking down the street and like that first line came to me, it really made, I don't know why, but I don't know if you've ever read The Illustrated Man.
Mm-mm.
Or saw the movie.
No.
Okay, well, in the movie, like, it shows him kind of walking down or in this like desert, desolate kind of area, and I guess I was kind of thinking of that scene when I wrote that first line, and it was more of like, yeah, like, if you're at the end of the road, like, are you going to stay there and just make the best of whatever is there at the end of the road, even if it's absolutely nothing? Or, are you going to continue on to find something beyond that road?
And I don't want to make this about Escala's Wish, but I'm going to take a line about Escala's Wish, I'm going to tie it to your poem and then get your reaction. In the book, Escala meets a cat person named Crury. That's how you pronounce it, by the way, Crury. And he asks her, what makes the world go round? Love, power, or money? What would your answer be? I'm going to tell you what his answer is, and then we're going to bring it back to your poem. So what do you think? What is your answer? Love, power, or money? What makes the world go round? Love. What kind of love?
Whatever kind of love you feel you have to give. I mean, like, I love my dogs. I love my daughter, it's love. Different kind of love, but still love, like, it doesn't have to be romantic in any way.
What, I'm just looking for a phrase here. I'm just trying to find that line in my book here by not Googling it, but going to the word here. And
I love that character, by the way.
Crury?
Yeah.
So That's a friend of mine named Paul who plays that character. But the way I wrote that is, if you've studied philosophy and you're familiar with how Socrates conducted himself by doing what's called the Socratic method, that's what's going on there. So the teacher asks questions. The teacher doesn't tell anybody the answer. So Crowley is doing Socratic method to Escala. When I was in law school, that's how class is often taught. And I was just sort of combining what I did in law school as being on the receiving end of that stuff, and also my love for philosophy. And it was a nod to Socrates, what I was doing there. But Crowley answers that by saying love, but he expands on that by saying, for some people, it's, as you described, love, and not necessarily romantic love. But for others, it's the love of power and the love of money. So really, yes, money and power can make the world go around because it's the love of them. So now if we go bring that back to your poem, if you're thinking about like the end of the road, I've always, the idea of love, self-independence, and codependency, and economic freedom, and psychological freedom are such interesting, intertwined concepts to me, because economic freedom, and if you read if you read the book that I recommended a couple episodes ago called Women in Crisis or of Crisis, I can't remember what the title is. It is about women who are trapped because of economic poverty, and they have to, they're stuck. And so they have to sacrifice. So they give up so many of their dreams because they don't have economic freedom. And probably a lot of love as well. But then there's others in that story who were completely happy, even though they were totally captive to their conditions. And if you're, let me shut up and let you react to that. Well, how do you think about psychological freedom, economic freedom, freedom of self, but also codependency, because love requires something on the other side, whether it's your dog or a person? What do you think about all that?
That's a heavy topic, David.
You got to call me a DJ. The police will come looking for David.
Not to get, too personal or anything, but I struggle every day, financially, so there's still a lot of things just within the last year and a half that I'm still trying to navigate through personally, but I know that I've made big strides in healing, and in doing so emotionally, mentally, physically, it is freeing, there is a weight that eventually, gets lifted. Mm-hmm. Obviously when you have a job or you have money coming in, you can hopefully, essentially, buy the things that are going to make you feel comfortable in, mm-hmm. in your house or wherever it is that you are living, whatever your situation is. So,
What are you going to do with that poem? Are you going to copy it down or let it live only on the roof? You going to share it in your book?
No, probably not.
No.
It's kind of long.
There's nothing wrong. That's not a long poem. I think that's, what is it, like 8 bars? 12 maybe?
It's maybe
well, because I write rap songs, to me that's not even a chorus.
Right. No, I have a couple of others. I have one that I started the other day too. And sometimes the poems, if I hear something that kind of really triggers my brain to think about a certain situation, it could be the way somebody said something, I might take what they said, one simple line, and expand it into a poem. I don't know, it's kind of an all-over process for me.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that poem with us. and particularly the location of the poem. 'Cause I don't know anyone who's ever written a poem on a ceiling, and now I can say that I do. You'll be famous.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's move on to the next thing. I have two more pieces of news that I forgot. We have some guests that are coming on our show next week. Joni Kerr, who has been covered in my blog. Joni was an educator who taught school, and she now is retired, and she writes children's books. She's going to be joining us on Wednesday, and I think Lulu, I think you're coming as well to interview her. She's going to talk to us about what was it like to go from being an educator to writing children's books, and also what is it like to move from the U.S. to. She's lived in many countries around the world. She lives overseas right now, so she's going to be joining us like with a 13-hour time delay. For us it'll be 9 o'clock, and then for her it'll be like 8 in the morning. And she's also going to talk about just how she encourages people. So it's going to be more than just books, and we'll have a good talk with her. I have another guest that's coming hopefully the following weekend. She's a lawyer who has written a book that is true and is related to a crime that was a very sensitive crime. And at one point we thought we were going to have to use a voice modulator to protect her identity. No, we don't even though Lulu and I can see each other, we don't publish the videos, so I certainly could not publish her picture. But she told me at this point she may be past that stage, and we maybe not have to mask her voice, and I may be able to actually say her name on the air. But in any event, she's going to tell us the story of this true crime of her client, I think, that she's representing, and we're going to hear all about it here, hopefully next weekend. I can't say her name yet. We also have a book coming up. Joe Nemeth his book is being published on January 20th. It's a book of short stories, and I'm waiting. He's been on the list forever for me to read a chapter, but the first book that he wrote was a nonfiction history book on, I can't remember which author it was, but a very prolific writer who has written a gazillion like horror stories like Dracula and that kind of stuff. It wasn't Dracula, but it would not have been super interesting for me to read on the air because it was like a Wikipedia page, if you will, of everything he's accomplished. So certainly interesting to see, wow, this guy's done a ton of stuff, but it would not have been interesting for me to read it on the air. So he's like, all right, wait for my short stories, and that comes out January 20. So he's coming. Well, his book is coming. What's next on our list, Lulu?
What is next? You need to apologize. I don't know to who, but
oh yes,
sounds very serious.
Yeah, so when I read books, I first of all had to apologize to every single person who I've read their story on the air. I am like the worst person to I probably should not read chapters on the air because if you use words that aren't like cat, hat, bat, sat, I have difficulty with some difficult words. I mispronounce them. Particularly some of the Asian words that were in, like Brittany Dobson's Fire and Water, so I have to apologize for her. I did attempt to Google, and there's a website on YouTube where you can type in the word and it will tell you how to pronounce it. And so I would do that and then repeat it in my mind and rush back to the podcast and try to say it quickly, and I still got it wrong many times. So I have to apologize to Brittany for getting, I don't know, probably a dozen names in her book wrong. I'm sorry. But the one I'm apologizing more currently to is Mindy Mathers, who, for two things. One, her book title, you might recall it's called Roche Pride. And I called it Rock Pride the whole time. But at one point in the podcast, I actually called it correctly, Roche Pride. And I said, no, it couldn't possibly be that. And so I went to Rock Pride. And then for the rest of the podcast, not only did I call it Rock Pride, half the time I called her Michelle. So I have to apologize for getting her name wrong. Mindy, I'm sorry. And also getting your book title wrong. She accepted my apology, but also told me that the hitmen can't be called back and they're probably going to kill me. So I'm kidding. She didn't say that. But she did. I did invite her to come on the show and to do improv with us. And she said she would love to do that at some point. And I think she asked me to perhaps read another book, another chapter of one of her books. So she'll be in the rotation as well. So those are my apologies. For anyone else who I'm going to be reading books for, if you have words that are difficult, give me a pronunciation guide on the front end would be super helpful. So that's that. All right, what do we have next?
Next up, we have award news. Yay! DJ got an award.
Oh yeah, do you want to cover it or do you want me to?
Okay. I'll give it a go. So, let me just pull it up here. DJ was awarded the Internationall Firebird Book Award. Is that correct?
Well, I got second place. I didn't win first place.
Okay. Well,
But that is the right award, yes.
that is the right award. Okay. Let me pull this up here really quick. And okay, so the Firebird Book Awards are issued quarterly and recognize excellence in independent and small press publishing across a wide range of genres, with an emphasis on strong storytelling, originality, and professional presentation. Firebird has a partnership with Enchanted Makeovers, which is a 501c3, and other shelters. The entire entry fee is sent to the charity, who uses the money to send fun and colorful handmade pillowcases, children's books, and pampering room and body spray mists to shelters around the country to make someone's life just a little bit brighter. That sounds amazing. How do you feel?
Well, there's a couple things there. I did not enter the contest because they supported a charity. I found that out later, and that's just kind of cool. Anyone who's done these book contests know you do have to pay a fee for these contests, and many of them are, I mean, they're businesses, most of them. And this is one of the rare ones where that's a charity. I mean, the contest is not a charity, but the money goes to a charity. And I went and looked up the charity, and they show pictures of the children. Not only, I mean, first of all, the pillowcases look really cool. They're all super unique. Some of them look like Harry Potter capes, and the children look like ages 2 to 4, 2 to 5. They're wearing the pillowcases like Batman capes, and they also, use them for pillowcases at night. And it goes on to say here, a humble pillowcase can transform the way women and children see their shelter bed by turning it into a place to travel away from the circumstances into their dreams. These bright and patterned pillowcases are handmade with love. They're traveling pillowcases. And I guess what they do is they fill them with stuffed animals, for the kids, toys and things. And so this is like the child's traveling toy box. And if you think about it, it's kind of sad that the poor kids they live in a shelter and they may have to move, from time to time. And so they put all their belongings in a pillowcase or a trash bag. But now these kids are going to get, because of, I entered the contest, so my entry fee, whatever it was, $100, is going to get a pillowcase from one of these kids, and they're going to have stuffed animals, and you can see the stuffed animals here. It's pretty cool. As it relates to the award, I mean, it's always fantastic to, you should tell them who the judges are. So the judges that reviewed it, you want to go over that?
Okay, so Firebird has 23 judges who are published authors, editors, publishing house owners, librarians, audiobook producers, and writing professors.
So these are people who are actually mostly in the industry, and it says here that they assign two judges to review each book using a meticulous scoring system, and you are scored on a scale of 1 to 100, and you have to score at least 80 to be considered for an award, and then anything below that, I guess you get an honorable mention. To get an award, I finished second place. It's just amazing. It doesn't matter whether I finished third place or not. Just getting a high score from people who are published authors or editors is just amazing to me, because these people have done it already. They also know what it's supposed to look like. So if my book was crap, I can't imagine that all these awards I'm getting, that somebody along the way would have said, this is a pile of poo. But this is my fourth award now? No, third award. Fifth review, third award. It's so satisfying to know, okay, of course most authors think their books are good. Your mom tells you that your book is good. But having other people who are not your friends, not your mom, agree that your book is quality, it feels really good. It really does. In this case,
Well,
the kids benefit, which is also an added bonus.
yeah, well, you've done an amazing job. Really, you have.
Well, thank you. So that's the Firebird Award. Now they hand it out every quarter, so I will only have this award, this award for 3 months, and then someone else will get it. But they do give you a little circle thingamabopper that you can put on your website. And they asked me if I wanted to order a strip of stickers to put on the books, and I said yes, because when I go to the PAX East and I sign the book, I'm going to put the sticker on the cover of the book, because why not?
Right, why not? And then, it's like however many books you're giving away the books at the
Oh no,
taxis, right?
no, oh heck
They
no,
have to buy
no.
them?
Well, yes, because I'm setting up a booth to sell the books. I'll probably do giveaways, like give me your email address, and we'll do a drawing at the end of the conference, and I might give one of the collector's editions away. But it's a booth to sell things. But I'm going to give pens away and bookmarks and freebies, but the books are not free.
Okay, well, whoever buys your book at PAX East is definitely going to have a one-of-a-kind book with your signature and a sticker.
So I've been signing, not for everybody, but for a couple of very close friends. I do have a certain thing I sign that everybody gets that signature from me. But I have signed a couple of books as Escala and a couple of books as Sticky, and I have quotes that I use for them. I'm not going to say them on the air because then it would ruin the specialness of the quote. But I may, depending, somebody at the conference may get a special signature from Escala only. Maybe that'll be a prize.
Nice.
I think isn't that what's next? Aren't we going to read a chapter tonight?
We were going to talk about the store for a minute. There was something.
Let's skip that. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
The following audio, is a secret outtake. They did not know that we were recording this and putting it in the podcast.
Well, while you're doing that, let me tell you how I do Escala's voice on Monday night. So you just get a sense. I'll read one of her lines. There's a big section here where she talks about mushrooms. And don't laugh. This is how I do it on Monday nights. Well, the mushrooms are dangerous to some and also a boon to others. Well, for example, fire caps can burn your blood. If you eat too many, they can explode inside you. But if they're used by healers in small quantities to treat infections, and they whisper, it depends how fast you pick them. If you pick them fast, they scream. But if you pick them very slow, I don't think they whisper anything. That's how I talk like that for like 3 hours on Monday night.
Well, I don't know if I can do the accent you got going on there, but I will try to make her a little.
So what I do with her voice is I bring it on the upswing on the end of lines. She'll say like, they don't whisper anything. They don't scream. Like I go up with her voice at the end of sentences.
Okay, so. Oh, I don't know if I can do this.
She's hyper. She's always hyper. So she would be way more hyper than Harper. Harper would be like I'll do Harper. Harper's voice would be like, oh yeah, he's in full wiggy mode, but not a man's voice. It would be. Let me see if I can do a female version of Harper. Yeah, he's in full wiggy mode. That was terrible. She is powerful, confident, and like a badass. Escala is ditzy and hyper, like a teenage cheerleader. That's the difference between the two of them.
I'll try.
Do your best. It doesn't matter. This is all for fun. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
If you're ready, I can get going. All right. So this is the chapter 31. This is where Escala has already met Harper, Roden, and Sticky, who is the frog, and they have gone through some adventures, and they are arriving at Dunwell, which is a city of 50,000 people. It's pretty big, but it's not the capital. They are coming to find Wigfrith, who is a bard and who Roden said knows everything. And so and the story is also told by Wigfrith, who is the narrator, and it starts with him on stage. So here we go. I reach for my pipe. a quiet invitation in case anyone else fancies a smoke. And as I packed the bowl with tobacco from the rolling fields of Kelly's Pride, I nearly launched into a tale of how it got its name. Something about a woman named Kelly who seduced a wealthy old miner, took over his town, and inherited everything after he accidentally tumbled down one of his old gold mine shafts. But that's a story for another night. And as I puff, I continue the story. When they arrived at Dunwell, the first thing Escala noticed was the vivid colors. Everything was painted. Doors in faded reds and deep greens, shutters in lavender and storm blue. Even the cobblestones were splashed here and there with dye and chalk, remnants of old festivals and careless children. They passed a bakery with golden rolls steaming on a sill, a smithy with a horseshoe nailed crooked over the lintel. Street vendors called out wares. Sticky walked beside Escala, arms folded behind his back, scanning every flower pot for bugs to snatch with his tongue. He was not disappointed. Escala wasn't used to being surrounded by so many people. Almost immediately, there was some don't touch the fairy moments that Roden refused to diffuse. They followed a cobble lane to a 3-story inn with a crooked sign swinging out front, the Stag and Hound. They stepped inside by the very door you all came through tonight. It looked the same back then, maybe a few fewer folks inside, but on the stage was a certain dashing gnome performer, finishing a tale as they walked in. He struck a pose and recited, "And with a roar she tore the wing from the fire drake's spine and fanned herself with it, the way only a queen of the summer court might." The gnome was me, of course, and I bowed so deeply that I nearly tumbled off the table.
Wigfrith,
Harper called out, grinning. I snapped my head up and took in Harper and her companions. I lifted my mug as if preparing to deliver the toast of a lifetime. This was the first time I laid eyes on Escala, and my oh my was she beautiful. She wore tan canvas pants tucked into black boots that rose to her knees. A royal navy blue tunic, trimmed with silver, hugged her frame. A black leather belt circled her waist, with a travel pouch on one side and a short sword on the other. Her pack was slung casually over her shoulder, and I even noticed a small tear near her ribs, where the tunic might have clearly been stitched, like it had once been torn in battle. But what struck me was her presence. She carried herself like someone who belonged in a court. She was no peasant. Of course, I noticed Harper and Roden immediately, or recognized Harper and Roden immediately. But the frog? Well, I didn't know him. I had questions, so many questions. Harper nudged Escala forward, of course, but I didn't know her name yet.
she's looking for you.
Harper said.
We told her you know everything.
I looked at the crowd for confirmation that perhaps Harper was not wrong. It took a moment, longer than I would have liked, but eventually applause developed, and when I was satisfied, I gave a courteous nod. Smiling at Harper, I said, "Well, now I can see you definitely didn't inflate her expectations." Turning to Escala, I bowed with an elaborate flourish. "My dearest elf maiden, it's my honor to meet you. I'm Wigfrith Foreverbloom, bard medic of Misty Springs, spinner of 100 tales and a survivor of at least 35. And you?" And that's when she said those 9 words that I would come to hear hundreds, if not thousands of times throughout our adventures together.
I am Escala Winter, from the Court of Dreams.
Now, I've heard of the Court of Dreams. Most bards had. But she was claiming to be Fae, even though she looked like an elf. Interesting. I stroked my chin theatrically. Then come, we have much to discuss. We took the corner table by the hearth. Escala sat across from me and watched me closely, her eyes searching my face. And I was doing the same to her, looking for any hint of madness. I pulled out a leather-bound notebook, a fountain pen, and prepared to take notes. "Now," I said, "we must establish that you are who you say you are. Let's begin." I squinted suspiciously at her. "First question. Name the 3 most dangerous edible mushrooms in Deep Briar, which, as you know, is a hollow 4 valleys southwest of the Palace of the Court of Dreams. And tell me what they whisper when picked under a full moon."
What?
Escala said. Roden leaned over to Harper. Is he serious?
Oh, yeah.
Harper muttered.
He's in full wiggy mode.
Escala thought carefully.
This is a trick question.
How so? I asked, knowing she was right.
Well, the mushrooms that are dangerous to some are also a boon to others. For example, fire caps can burn your blood, and if you eat too many, you can explode from the inside. But they're used by healers in small quantities to treat certain infections. And what they whisper depends on how fast you pick them. If you pick them fast, they scream. But if you pick them very slowly, they don't whisper anything.
I raised an eyebrow, surprised. She was right.
And then there are the purple-stemmed heart spore mushrooms.
She continued.
They're deadly to mortals and can kill almost instantly if consumed, but they're not poisonous to Fae. We use them for stomach aches, so I'm not certain if that counts as a dangerous mushroom or not. And they don't whisper anything. Well, I guess they do, but no one knows what they say because they speak a language no one understands, and then...
I cut her off. Very good. I quickly scribbled her answers into my notebook.
But I didn't finish the answer,
she said, almost annoyed. You did fine, just fine, I said. Question 2. What is the third law of moonlight according to Sprite tradition? Escala didn't hesitate.
Moonlight reveals only what wishes to be found.
I grinned wider. Excellent. Question 3. How many names does the wind have in the Court of Dreams?
18.
She said.
19 when a crossing is open.
Harper raised an eyebrow.
What does that even mean?
It means she knows what she's talking about, I said, my eyes never leaving Escala's. Maybe it was because she was so unbearably beautiful, those striking blue eyes impossible to look away from. Or maybe I was trying to spot a tell, some twitching lip or suspiciously sweaty forehead that would reveal a lie. So all I can report is this. She had none of those. Just those impossibly beautiful blue eyes. I leaned across the table. Last question. The real test. My voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. In your truest form, before the banishment, how tall were you? Now I pause the tale, and I take a slow sip of ale, rubbing my chin as if pondering some great mystery. Then I lean in and say, now listen closely, friends. The last question I ask Escala is a trick question. Fae don't measure themselves the way we do. No pounds, feet, or meters for them. They measure themselves by nature. Petals, raindrops, moonbeams, that sort of thing. If she had said something like 1 foot or 16 inches, I'd know that she'd be faking it. This is the moment of truth. If her answers sound like a lie, the story ends right here, and you can all head over to the Golden Goose. Hell, I'll go with you. But, and I tap the table for emphasis, listen to what she tells me. Escala immediately answered,
I was 2 red apples and a green grape tall.
I must admit, I howled with laughter, slapped my knee, and the audience did too. Harper choked on her drink. 2 red apples, I nearly cried, and a green grape. I thumped the table. By the God, she's genuine. I nearly toppled off my stool, catching myself with a wobble and a curse, and then recovering with all the grace I could muster, I swept my arm in a grand arc across the table. Escala Winter of the Court of Dreams, I proclaim, welcome to the material plane, to Dunwell, and to the Stag and Hound. I extend my hand. How may I, Wigforth Foreverbloom, be of service? She did not shake my hand. To be honest, I thought she was being rude. However, Roden quickly said, she doesn't like to be touched. It's nothing personal. I withdrew my hand at once. I leaned forward, elbows on the table, hands folded beneath my chin. So, I said, what can I help you with? Escala told me her story, which you've already heard, and I focused on the bolder part. Tell me exactly what the Court of Dreams said, word for word. I said, ready to take detailed notes. Escala nodded slowly. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes for a moment, and recited her sentence from the trial as I told you about earlier. I stopped her at the part about the boulders and made her repeat it. Now, I'm a smart gnome. I think you'll agree. But I did not know what a boulder was in the context of her punishment. Apples and pears, I said. They went full poetic punishment.
I've been trying to figure out what it means ever since.
Escala said.
At first, I thought the court meant real boulders, physical things I had to move or destroy. Then I thought maybe it was about people's obstacles, dreadful things in their lives they needed help with. I've been keeping a logbook. I have people sign it every time I help someone.
Harper said.
She's not kidding. She even has a signed page from some guy saying she helped him negotiate a peace treaty with a swarm of bees. Do you think what I'm doing is right? Is helping people with their troubles and obstacles the boulders the Court of Dreams mean?
She asked. No, I said, but, adding, holding up a finger, voice laced with stubborn brightness, I have theories. I flipped in my notebook and stopped with a flourish on a page. Crinkled, ink-stained, singed at the corner, I tapped a passage with my knuckles. This one always stuck with me. A forest warden I met in Cinder Marshes said it came to him in a fever dream. He woke screaming and didn't speak for days. And when he finally did, all he said was, "The cycle's jammed. Too many boulders. The wheel's stuck." That line sent me spiraling. Some scholars, those unhinged enough to study dream sentencing, believe the true cycle governs more than life and death. They think it governs intention and balance, not just how life moves, but why. I traced a small circular sketch beside the passage. The Fey courts, especially the Dreaming Court.
Court of Dreams,
Escala corrected. Ah, yes, the Court of Dreams, I said, are obsessed with the idea of balance. Dreams, stories, seasons, they all turn like wheels. And when a wheel is blocked, everything can get warped. So, Roden frowned, boulders could be disruptions? Exactly, I said, nodding firmly now. Blockages or interferences, some obstacle that prevents the cycle from moving cleanly. It could be anything. Unresolved pain, misplaced power, unnatural magic, festering guilt. Something that doesn't belong but won't move. If enough of those stack up, the wheel stops.
like corruption
Harper said.
or monsters?
Well, sometimes, I shrugged. But the boulder could be a lie, a secret, or even a regret. Something stuck in someone's heart that refuses to move forward.
That could be anything.
Scala exclaimed. Exactly, I said. That's the point. It's not a checklist. It's a test of the soul. Escala looked down, the reality hitting her for the first time. They gave you an open-ended sentence that means the court doesn't want you to solve a riddle. They want you to change, to see the world, to touch it, and let it touch you.
But I don't understand. I was sent here for interfering. It doesn't make sense. Why would they want me to interfere with the true cycle now?
I don't know, I said.
So, the logbook won't help?
She asked quietly. I knew I had to be careful, not to crush her spirit. I smiled gently. It might. I think it says more about you than you realize. Escala looked down. That's the worst part of Fey justice, I added, settling back on my stool. They don't just hand you chains, they hand you a mirror. That ends chapter 31. By the way, that was a great job. I think we did pretty good there. There's only one part we're going to have to cut out, and that was my fault, actually. Since you read the book, without spoiling anything, can you see the foreshadowing that I laid out in there? Is it obvious now?
Yeah, it is.
Because
Yeah, you did a really good job of it. And if people reading the book, which I hope they do read the book, and I hope that they really pay attention to what the message is in the book. But I hope they are able to pick out these foreshadowing parts, because like it really does lead up to something great.
Yeah, I would love to point them out right here, but I'm sure there's more people that will listen to the podcast have not read the book, and I do not want to give the foreshadowing away, like point to the exact words. Well, that was a lot of fun. I do have an update on my own audiobook. Tom Garland reported that he was sick and he's behind schedule. He got the flu and his voice was shot. And I told him, don't record. I don't want half the book with a normal voice and half the book with a sick voice. So wait till you get better and your voice is normal and then go back to recording. So he said, it may not be done now until early February. But I said, that's fine. I want it perfect. I'm not rushing it just to get it out. It needs to be perfect. So that's the update on that.
Welcome to the Crimson and Ava Show, starring Crimson Jack Acorn III and Ava Honeysuckle.
In tonight's episode, we find Ava Honeysuckle sitting at the creek. She's combing her hair, making herself look beautiful. Ready for the Big Apple. And in the bushes is Dmitry Gorbachev.
Oh, I'm so beautiful. I can't wait to get to the Big Apple. All those lights. Oh, I'm gonna be so famous. I just know it. Wait, what is that? I hear something behind me.
No, don't be scared. It's just me, Dmitry Gorbachev. You are so pretty here. Are you getting ready for the Big Apples?
Oh, you did give me a fright.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to. How you Americans say forgives me. Is that how you say it?
Yes, okay. That's... yes.
Have you packed your bags yet?
Yes, they're packed. I'm ready to go.
There's what you say problem.
I'm nervous.
Well, there's a bigger problem than you being nervous. There's an obstacle. First of all, go ahead. Tell me your problem.
What obstacle is there?
Well, I don't know if you're qualified. You're pretty and all that, but what talent do you have? I need to know.
I have all the talents. I can sing, I can dance, I can act, I can just be pretty.
All right, then give me a test. Give me the Star-Spangled Banner. Right now. Go ahead.
Oh, say, can you see?
That is a terrible song. Can you give me the Russian national anthem? The second and third verses.
I don't know the Russian national anthem.
All right, how about this? Act out the scene. See that bush over there? Pretend that bush is...
Why do I have to do all this? You know what I can do. I've sent headshots. You see me here in person. Well, I sent you a video of my acting, my singing, my dancing. Why do I have to prove it to you again now?
Because I've got to be able to tell the Big Apples that I have actually seen your skills in person, not on video. Videos can be AI'd to death. You know this.
What? I'm ready to go. I'm packed my bags already.
Just give me one more test. See that bush right there? Pretend that bush is your mother. And your mother told you that your room is dirty, and your room is not actually dirty. And your mother told you cannot go to the Big Apple. Have a fight with your mother right now. Tell that bush to go fly off a cliff. Let's see. Go ahead.
No, I would never tell my mother that. Nope.
All right, not your mother. How about the bully across the street?
And my room is always clean. Do you see how clean I am? I am pristine. My room is always clean.
Well, you have some spunk. I can tell that. You'll be good. All right, the next problem is this. You have not signed the contract. But before we get to that, let me come over here. Let me put my arm around your shoulder. I'm not going to touch your tail. That crimson guy always looking at your tail. Look at me and my eyeballs. And now look over there up into the air. See the stars up there? One of those is going to be you.
Whoa,
I'm pointing to the
what
stars up there in the sky.
No. What are you doing with your other hand?
It's on your shoulder. Oh, sorry. I will remove it from your shoulder. Let me clasp them together and I will point with both fingers into the sky. See those stars up there? One will be you.
I am brighter than those stars.
Do you like flashbulbs flashing in your eyeballs?
Yes,
Except
I
when you're
love
in the
the
middle of the
lights.
road and the car is coming at you. Don't get those kind of lights. Only the ones that flash from the cameras. Those are fine. Tell me, do you have a unique signature? Can you make a signature, an autograph? Are you good with this?
Oh, yes, I have a beautiful signature. I have beautiful handwriting.
Can you sign autographs for 6, 7, 8 days on a straight without tiring? Because that's how famous you're going to be.
I will try. Of course, I will do it. Because if that's what's going to make me famous, I will do it.
How many encores can you do before you get bored?
I'd never get bored.
Oh, I like the sound of this. How about this? Given choice, would you do musical or drama? Or comedy?
Well, I do like comedy. Musicals are okay.
What about a musical comedy? What if we put those together? Musical comedy.
I could do that.
Do you want a pink Cadillac or a white one?
Pink, of course.
Very nice. Do you want to live in Midtown or Uptown?
Uptown.
Let me get the contract out here. I'll start filling these things in here. So, Uptown, check. North-facing or south-facing?
North-facing.
North.
I like the
Very
stars
good.
in the north.
Stars in the north.
And I am going to be one of them.
What time do you... Indeed. What time do you want breakfast brought to your room?
7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, early to rise, right?
At your penthouse. I'll make certain it happens. 10 a.m. Very good. I'm
Let
putting
me
it
see
into
this
your...
contract. Let me see.
Oh, there's a strange dog in the woods over here barking. I hope he's not going to come bite me. Well, because as your agent, I need to make certain the contract
gotta
has all
read
the
some of
terms
this
and
first.
conditions for the riders. That way, when
I want the big, bright lights. I want the fame. But I want to make sure that everything looks good here.
well, of course, Dmitry Gorbachev only does the top-notch contracts. This section right here called compensation, these things called points. You get 1. That's very, very good. And I get 0.99. That's not so good. 1 is way better than 99. Much better, I'm telling you.
How is 1 better than 99? That doesn't seem right.
Because you're first.
Well, why do I have to sign the contract now? Can't we wait till I get to the Big
See,
Apple?
the 1 goes first, and then all the rest of them get in line behind you.
Okay, I need to think about this. I do want to go to the Big Apple. I do want the bright lights. I do want the big city.
Of course you do, because if you do not sign tomorrow, I will go get Miss Cassidy Vance and bring her to the big city, and she does nude videos, so I have a lot more choices with her.
But she doesn't want to be famous.
I know, that's why I don't even have to pay her. She'll just go. But you, I can make you a big star. You can get a Grammy, and also an Oscar, and a Tony, and what else do they give out there? That's probably all of them.
Well, I'm going to take this contract with me, and I'm going to go finish packing, make sure I have everything, and I will meet you back here tomorrow.
Of course, bring everything, yes. Tomorrow. I will be waiting. I will make you a big star. You think on this. Tomorrow, you will be famous, part 1. I think. Maybe. I mean, yes, you'll be famous. Remember, 1. You're the 1, and I'm the 99.
Yeah.
Good night. Will Ava come to her senses and find out that Dmitry Gorbachev is simply trying to take advantage of her? Find out next time on The Crimza and Ava Show.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you join us next time on the Trash Panda Publishing podcast. And like all raccoons, stay curious.
Thanks for listening to Trash Panda Publishing Podcasts. And like all raccoons, stay curious.